Alright, so on this episode of Mustang Files, we look at safety. We obviously did a run in Mexico, and given that, let's try and bump up our chances to live. So first would be getting rid of these stock bullshit seats. We did some Corbus. I got some 5-point harnesses with them too. Here's my head position with a roll bar. Even with padding, it's a little sketch being that close to the bar. So did a rear firewall as well. Just basically preparing everything to pass tech. You've got to reinforce the rear part of the seat, and then there's harnesses and with the little like upper hoop to keep the belts from sliding back and forth. I went ahead and did the hole saw trick in the front bumper, get some more cooling, and then here was my front suspension. I plotted everything out. I went ahead and adjusted some things. I wanted to increase anti-squat. I didn't feel like it was hitting like it should have. I have been targeting 180, so there's me hitting that. I basically moved up my upper bar and gave more angle on the uppers. So we went ahead and four-corner scaled the car. That's how it came out without any adjustments. And then there it is with driver weight. We wanted 3,000 with driver, so hit that dead on. And got some preload on the right rear. It ended up raising the front quite a bit. Feeling pretty good with all our safety gears, so I went to a drift comp to play around a little bit. Well, it obviously didn't hook like I figured it would, so I basically pulled back around and figured, oh, a burnout will probably help. I had some dirt on the tires and they were probably cold, so notice how I pull off on the track right here. We'll get to what happened with that later.
Where are you going, buddy? Okay, he's going over there. Let's meet up with him. Alright, he's going again. Okay, he is going again.
So super nice of these guys running the drift comp here. They knew I've been working on this thing and been hard at work, so they were letting me do some test launches on the straightaway during a drift comp just because it wasn't crazy crowded. And here's where they stopped me when they noticed I was leaking some oil. I figured it was just a small leak, but after further investigation, I put a hole in my oil pan. And it happened when I pulled back onto that track right there in that little dip. It scraped a tiny bit, and it was just enough to puncture a hole in it. So I took an Uber home to go grab the tow rig and get my oil-free car back home. I have a really good oil light, so no damage was done. I probably only lost like half a quart before they stopped me. I was just up that night just thinking, oh, is it aluminum? Am I going to have to TIG it? Is this going to be an all-day thing? This sucks. And then I also wondered, would it have hooked better with a burnout? So we stuck a magnet to it. It ended up being steel. So just hit it with a roll-lock wheel, migged it up, used non-flammable brake clean to clean it so that it didn't turn the engine of our engine into a bomb, and we were good to go. It was actually only took an hour and a half, like start to finish. That includes unloading it and loading it back onto the trailer. So I went ahead and went right back out there for more. And now the question gets answered. Will a burnout help it hook on this track?
Transmit.
Dang, it sounds good.
So my son and I scaling the car, resetting all that geometry and anti-squat and everything, it literally took most of the day. And it was hot that day. It was so much work. So I was a little disappointed, but you know, you just got to keep pushing forward. I noticed that the car had a bit of rake going on, so I went ahead and raised the front, lowered the back, lowered tire pressure, and then I got to some more tuning. I was thinking it had been a bit since I boost leak tested this thing, pretty much the whole time I've been driving it, because I boost leak tested before I drove it and it seemed okay, but come to find out, intake manny gaskets were leaking. and I found some other boost leaks too, so took care of those. And then this one was a new one. You guys seen this one before? So replace intake Manny gaskets, seal up that intake air temp sensor, found some exhaust leaks as well, pre-turbo, which are really bad. And then I went ahead and upgraded the alternator to a 250 amp and did a lot of things to get the tune all squared away. I resealed the injectors with some help of a buddy, and it was running way better. So Mexico time. So this launch was a lot better. I took tire pressure from 20 to 13 and it helped a ton. Do want to note I lifted early for the 8th, so that trap and ET is not 100% accurate. I lifted right about 7 seconds in. Another thing that helped a lot was I actually raised launched RPM, and it hits the trans brake softer because of that. This trans brake flashes at like 5800, so I took it from 3500 to 4500, and it hits softer. This one I launched at 5K and got after a little harder on the throttle, so it spun, but I did actually hit my shift points at 6800, ran it out to 8th mile, so that's my first 8th mile pass. Was feeling pretty good about it, so next step was just keep going with the safety gear. I got the window net happening. Now the whole reason why I've been going with all this safety stuff is I've been preparing to hit my local drag strip before the end of the season. So that's been the main push right now, is getting it where it's going to pass tech, and of course we'll all be safe to run it and not have to worry about anything. I got a fire suit. Buddy went ahead and hooked up some E85, and even though I'm just roughed in on timing, it is no longer hooking up on second gear with drag radials on the street now, just because of the power the E85 adds. I have not added boost at all. So this is that log from that pole you just saw. This was my first time getting traction control going now that I got front and rear wheel speeds working. So if you're not familiar, VSS1 is my rear wheel speed and this is my front. Even though these lines aren't lining up, they're at the same values now. The reason why it green goes to a higher value here is because it reached a higher peak. So kind of ignore air fuel here. As I said before, I did a complete rescale, complete renovation on the injector scaling and everything, so it was getting retuned during all this, so not dialed in yet, but yeah, put it to E85 and that was creating the traction issues in seconds. So on this pole, the big thing you want to look at is spark advance. So we're at 42 and 43 miles an hour. And then as we're spooling up here, we start to get some differential going on, and you can see spark advance just start dropping, and we're down to 5 degrees advance, and so that's why the engine sounded a little muffled on that pole there. Still didn't prove to be enough because we still got like 25 miles an hour speed difference, so it kept it under wraps a little bit, but not like it should have. And then the other thing I'm trying to get going is boost scramble, so that's why boost duty changes here, is I'm trying to get boost scramble going as well. So basically I'm just calibrating all I can during this pull. So